Good morning, everybody. It's Mandy from Chapel Forge. We are on day 19 of the Pantry Challenge. So I usually watch Little Mountain Ranch. Chelsea, she's in Canada, and her husband Dan decided to do the Pantry Challenge this year. They haven't done it in the past. This is the first time they've done it, and they were always nervous because they didn't want to run down their stock. Exact same theory I had. I did not want to run down my stock or whatever, but they decided to do it this year to see where are they really sitting? So do they actually have enough? Do they really have as much as they think they need? Things like that. And I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So we decided to do it this year. And then so she said in a video yesterday or the day before, she's like, Dan and I realized that we have been making even better food than before. So like us, they typically make almost all their meals from scratch. They can a bunch of things, they grow a bunch of things, etc. And Bud and I were having this conversation the other day, my 14-year-old, about how well, for one, we wouldn't even notice that we were on the Pantry Challenge if we didn't like say it out loud, which is a good thing. But two, the meals that we're eating, like we usually eat like pretty top-notch meals. And I'm not saying that's because we go out and buy like filet mignon and shrimp. It's just because we take good quality core ingredients and turn them into really yummy meals. And so they feel very like gourmet and fancy and whatever. Well, oh my gosh, since the Pantry Challenge, I mean, one, I've been getting better at sourdough. So we have like these bowls and batards and focaccias and like all these fancy things that we would like have never had before. One, because we weren't eating bread really since Ed's heart attack. Like not never, but we definitely didn't like keep it in the house. We would eat it if we were at someone else's house and they offered it or whatever, but we didn't keep it in the house and I wasn't actively baking. And most of that was like maybe like a trauma response. I talked to a friend the other day and we were talking about like after Zad's heart attack, how they told us to eat margarine and Splenda. And I was like, what? So, and keep in mind, I was canning and all of that kind of thing. We had a garden, we had some animals and all that, but I was at the very beginning of our whole food journey. A few years prior to that, I had kind of gone through a crunchy phase, but like, it wasn't a whole foods journey. I just like was buying like what I thought was healthy food at the grocery store sort of thing. So this is at the very beginning of our whole food journey. Right after his heart attack, we both decided like it was time to shed at least 100 pounds each and really change our diets and start moving our bodies and blah, blah, blah. I've talked a little bit about that on the channel. I've talked about it more on Facebook and Instagram, but in a nutshell, you know, Zad started at 315. I started at 315. Zad started at 353. He's down to like 270 and I'm down to like 195. We both still have a little bit to go. But we are way further ahead than we were just over 2 years ago. And our food storage and the way we cook is just miles from where it was. And prior to that, we ate out some. I wouldn't say that we ate out a ton, even when we were like really unhealthy. We were just eating like massive amounts of food. And we really did keep a lot of like junk ingredients in the house. Anyway, Chelsea was just talking about how the meals they're eating have just been elevated. And Bud and I were like, we feel like the Pantry Challenge really took our meals to the next level. Like we are eating delicious meals. And if you've been, you know, I've mostly put out a video every day during the Pantry Challenge documenting our meals and just a little bit about what's going on throughout the day or whatever. But we have made some awesome food. I am definitely one of those foodie people that posts almost every meal on social media. I love seeing what other people are making. I love being inspired by other people's meals. Jessica at Three Rivers Homestead, who started this Pantry Challenge, she's my favorite. I watch her every single Sunday. Like I get up, make my coffee, and I watch Jessica. And I'm always inspired. And she often says that she doesn't make like complex meals or like pretty meals or whatever. And like, I don't even care about that. Like Zad plates things that they look nice, but that's something that brings him joy. And, you know, Jessica's feeding 8 kids, so it's a little bit different. But she always has some great inspiration, things I didn't think of, ways to repurpose things I didn't think of. So before we get into our day and what we're eating today, I just wanted to put that out there that if you haven't started the Pantry Challenge and you want to, you 100% still could. You could do a Pantry Challenge in the middle of July if that's the way the spirit leads you. But I just wanted to encourage you that, you know, maybe you prepare to do it next year. I just was really surprised at the things that changed, even like mindset things that changed because of the pantry challenge. You know, I am really focused on going to the pantry and using what is in there. And we always had that focus. It just seems more intentional. Maybe that's the word. It's more intentional since the pantry challenge. So I just wanted to give you, I know it's like 5-minute long little vlog, but I just wanted to say all of that before we get into our meals today. So I have the bread from yesterday that didn't rise that great. And so I'm in the pantry to gather up some ingredients to do some savory bread pudding. I kind of did a little searching on Google just to get a little bit of inspiration. So I'm going to grab some supplies in here. That way I can get that soaking, and I'll either bake it tonight or tomorrow. It won't really matter. All right, this is going to be a little experimental. We're going to do some canned corn, some pickled onions, which I'll chop up. I did some apple pepper relish this year, and I did a lot of it. So this would be a great way to use some of that up. Do some mushrooms, cook up some ground beef and bacon. I think we'll put a little cheddar in here, and we'll do like a bacon cheeseburger bread pudding. All right, so Zad's got breakfast ready for us. We have a beautiful omelet. Just trying to use up things in the fridge. There's some peaches, some blueberries. Suzu has breakfast too. The last of the sweet bread pudding, and by sweet I mean like breakfast bread pudding, not savory. I am very excited for this. To no surprise, the kids have wiped out the hot cocoa mix container. I'll link the video where I explain how to do this in detail. It's super simple. 2 cups of powdered sugar to 1 cup of cocoa powder, and you can put in a little salt if you want. I just make it in half-gallon batches, which in the summer lasts forever, but this time of year lasts like a month. Is refilling the powdered sugar container ever clean? It never is. It's always a big mess. All right. So I got our half-gallon of cocoa mix ready. That'll last us a little while. I'm heating some milk up on the stove for the kids. So when I make this, I just put like 2 heaping tablespoons in like a coffee mug, regular size coffee mug. And then I heat the milk on the stove, pour the milk into it, and it is, and we ran out of homemade marshmallows yesterday. But if I had that, we'd put those in. So when I make it for the littles, I either pull it off a little sooner, fill theirs, and then fill Bud's, or if it gets a little too warm, we just put some cold milk in it. We always bust out the frother. It's a family favorite. As you can hear, Jamie's very excited. So that's how we make delicious hot chocolate when they come in from the snow. All right, so I pulled my focaccia dough out of the extra fridge. This is the beautiful beeswax wrap that Bud made. That's gigantic and fits this big vintage Pyrex bowl, and I'm super excited about it. All right, I did oil last time because that's the recipe calls for, to like put in the pan and then put on top. I'm gonna try lard because frankly, I don't keep that many oils on hand. Like I have olive oil for soap, but we don't keep a ton of oil on hand because we always have bacon grease and lard and tallow. So I have a jar of lard here. We're gonna try it. I think it's probably going to be fine, but I'll keep you posted. All right, so the other thing we're gonna work on is these 2 bowls that were just okay. Well, one's a bowl, one's a petard, but whatever. We're gonna get that prepped for bread pudding. So I had to bust out the Arctic muck boots today. The short ones were just not cutting it. Zuzu came along to help with chores. Short ones were not cutting it. I was getting all kinds of snow on them, whatever. Anyway, it was time to empty out the rabbit trays. We raise meat rabbits. We're pretty new to them. It's, you know, we don't have a great setup yet. It's okay. Like they're safe, they're fed, their cages are all good. We have a bigger setup that we want to put up hopefully this spring and then start breeding them. Anyway, I need to care for them until then, of course. So I have these frozen piles of rabbit pee and poop to bring you today. So that's delicious. This will be the future of our compost, which will grow our vegetables. Okay, so we had a little bit of a delay. One of our goats, she's getting old. She's probably 10. She's not like standing super well. We're not really sure. So we had to like get her in her own spot, kind of quarantine her, but so she could still see her friends. And we set the camera up and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, back to this project. So Bud cooked up the bacon for me and the ground beef. So in this bowl, I have eggs, milk, seasoning, the apple pepper relish, some pickled onions, did I say eggs, the bacon and the ground beef. I need to put some cheese in here, and then I'm just gonna let this sit and just kind of all like meld together. All right, it's plenty cold in our kitchen, and I kind of just want this to like, you know, get all mixed up. Isn't this beeswax wrap amazing? This is the 18 by 20 that Bud made yesterday. obsessed because this bowl is gigantic. What was I going to cover it with? Okay, so that thing's awesome. Those are on our website if you want to buy one and support Bud. Bud started his little business when he was 6. He wanted a bunny, so he gathered up toys and clothes that he didn't want or didn't fit and sold them at his little yard sale and made like Rice Krispies with my mom, and it was this whole thing and it was super cute. And so he has had his official little business, I guess, since he was 7. He did the yard sale when he was 6, started his business when he was 7. And it's awesome. He loves it. It was a great way, because we unschool, it was a great way for him to like learn about money and finances and taxes and all that kind of stuff when he didn't really love math. So anyway, those are on our website at Chapel Hill Forge. I just fed the starter, so it's going to go over here next to my focaccia, which is still rising beautifully. Bud is larding the 2 pans, and we're going to get this big bowl of savory bread pudding, bacon cheeseburger bread pudding, put in those dishes. As soon as my focaccia comes out, we'll get these 2 in. All right, so we got some good crusty bread left. Finishing up that ham, bean, potato soup that Zad made on the stove. He heated it up in the Dutch oven on the coal stove because it was already running, and seriously, running, like it's already heating the house. And it probably heated up in 15 minutes. Like, look how steamy it is. It's crazy. So we are going to enjoy this for dinner. And then I think all of our leftovers are wrapped up. We'll have the focaccia for tomorrow, like as a snack or whatever. And then we have the 2 savory bread puddings. So I'll let you know tomorrow how those come out. I think I asked Bud how appetizing they look. They're like, he's like, Mom, it looks like soggy bread. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be delicious. So I'll keep you posted about that tomorrow, and we'll see you guys later.